There is a kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being rejected. It comes from being removed. You didn't ask for distance. You didn't plan separation. You didn't wake up one day and decide to walk alone, yet suddenly friendships faded without explanation. Conversations felt shallow. Rooms felt crowded, but your soul felt unseen. And no matter how hard you tried to reconnect, something kept pulling you inward, away from noise, away from familiarity, away from people who once felt like home. If this has been your experience, I need you to listen carefully. Because this is not accidental. This is not punishment. This is not because you're too much or hard to love. This is a divine pattern that shows up again and again in the lives of women God is preparing for something sacred. Isolation didn't come because you failed. It came because you were changing, and your spirit could no longer survive where it once fit. Today we're talking about the kind of isolation that finds you, the kind you didn't choose but couldn't escape, and why God allowed it, not to break you, but to protect what He placed inside you. Isolation begins without your permission. There is a kind of isolation that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a dramatic ending or a loud confrontation. It slips in quietly, almost politely, until one day you look around and realize the world feels farther away than it used to. You didn't choose distance. You didn't decide to pull back. You didn't wake up with a plan to be alone. It simply happened. Conversations shortened, invitations slowed, familiar laughter began to feel hollow, and even when you were physically surrounded by people, something inside you felt untouched, unseen, and disconnected. For chosen women, isolation often begins without explanation because it isn't rooted in rejection. It's rooted in transition. Your spirit begins to move before your mind understands why. You start sensing things you can't articulate. You feel misaligned in spaces that once felt safe. It's not that people suddenly became bad. It's that your inner world expanded and the environment around you stayed the same. And expansion is uncomfortable when it happens in still rooms. This is where confusion sets in. You start asking yourself questions that slowly turn into self-blame. Did I change too much? Did I become too sensitive? Why do I feel like I don't belong anywhere anymore? You replay moments, messages, tones of voice, searching for a mistake you might have made. But the truth is quieter and deeper than that. You didn't do anything wrong. You simply evolved in a direction that required space. Chosen women are often separated before they understand what they're being prepared for. God doesn't wait until you're strong enough to handle isolation. He uses isolation to make you strong. And because the process is internal, no one around you sees it happening. From the outside, it looks like you're withdrawing. From the inside, it feels like you're shedding layers you can no longer carry. What makes this isolation especially painful is that it feels unearned. You didn't betray anyone. You didn't burn bridges. You didn't abandon love. In many cases, you were the one holding things together, the listener, the supporter, the emotional anchor. So when distance comes, it feels unfair. But isolation for chosen women is rarely about fairness. It's about preservation. There are parts of you that cannot be developed in constant noise. Certain sensitivities can't mature in crowded rooms. Discernment needs silence. Depth needs stillness. And the calling on your life, whatever form it takes, cannot survive constant access from people who only know the old version of you. So God allows space, not as punishment, as protection. This kind of isolation feels different from loneliness. Loneliness is the absence of people. Divine isolation is the absence of alignment. You're not alone because no one wants you. You're alone because your spirit is recalibrating. You begin to notice that shallow conversations drain you faster. You feel exhausted after social interactions that once energized you. You crave depth but rarely find it. And instead of forcing yourself to fit, you start pulling inward, not out of pride, but out of necessity. And here's the part. Most people won't understand, even when you try to reconnect, something doesn't let you fully return. You show up, but you're not fully present. You smile, but it feels borrowed. Your heart knows it's in between seasons, and that in-between space feels lonely because it belongs to you alone. No one can walk it for you. Chosen women often mistake this season as failure. They think isolation means they're falling behind in life. But in reality, Isolation is often a sign that your foundation is being reset. God removes distractions before He reveals direction. He pulls you away from familiar voices so you can finally hear His clearly. And that clarity cannot compete with constant social noise. This isolation also reveals who is connected to your season and who is connected to your assignment. Some people were meant to walk with you for a while, not forever. When their role ends, the connection fades naturally, not because love disappears, but because alignment shifts. And while that realization hurts, it also frees you from forcing bonds that no longer fit who you're becoming. If you're in this place right now, where isolation found you without your consent, hear this clearly: you are not being abandoned, you are being set apart. This season is not empty, it's intentional. The silence is not rejection, it's refinement. And the distance you feel is not loss, it's space being made for what cannot grow in crowded conditions. Isolation didn't come to break you, it came to protect what's forming inside you. Friendships end suddenly without closure. One of the most painful aspects of being a chosen woman is how abruptly friendships can end. Not slowly, not with warning, but suddenly, almost as if a switch was flipped overnight. One day you're sharing laughter, secrets, years of history. The next day, there's distance, silence, a shift you can feel but can't explain. Messages go unanswered. Energy changes. Conversations feel forced. And no matter how much you replay things in your mind, you can't pinpoint a moment where everything went wrong. This lack of closure hurts deeply because you are someone who values connection. You don't discard people easily. You remember details. You invest emotionally. You stay longer than most. So when relationships end without explanation, your heart searches desperately for meaning. You wonder if you were too much, too deep, too intense, too honest, too sensitive. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to internalize the loss as something wrong with you. But here is the truth chosen women must face. Not every ending comes with an explanation, because not every ending is about behavior. Some endings are about capacity. As you grow internally, your emotional and spiritual frequency changes. And when that happens, certain relationships can no longer sustain the depth you now carry. The bond breaks not because of conflict, but because of mismatch. People who once felt close may start feeling uncomfortable around you. Not because you changed into someone unrecognizable, but because you stopped shrinking. You stopped pretending. You stopped agreeing with things that felt wrong just to keep peace. And when you stop abandoning yourself, others who benefited from that version of you may quietly exit. This is where chosen women often struggle the most. You would rather fix things than let them go. You would rather understand than accept. You crave resolution. But divine separation rarely offers emotional closure. Instead, it offers clarity over time. And clarity doesn't come through conversations. It comes through healing. Friendships ending suddenly doesn't mean the love wasn't real. It means the season ended. Some people are assigned to your support, not your future. And when you begin tapping into deeper alignment, those connections dissolve naturally, not as punishment. As positioning, there is also a protection in sudden endings. If God allowed every relationship to fade slowly, you would stay too long. You would negotiate your growth. You would compromise your calling to preserve comfort. So instead, He allows swift separation, not to wound you, but to prevent prolonged damage. Chosen women often grieve friendships in silence. You don't always talk about it. You don't always confront it. You carry the weight quietly, convincing yourself to be strong. But inside, it hurts deeply, because friendship wasn't casual for you, it was sacred. And losing it feels like losing a piece of your history. But hear this clearly, friendships that cannot grow with you cannot go with you. And the pain you feel is not evidence of failure, it is evidence of depth. Shallow people do not grieve deeply. Chosen women do. What feels like loss now will later reveal itself as space. Space for healthier connections. Space for aligned relationships. Space for people who don't feel threatened by your growth. The sudden ending wasn't cruelty, it was divine editing. You outgrow people faster than you can explain. There comes a moment when you realize you are no longer the same person, but no one around you seems to have noticed. You still look the same. You still sound the same. But internally, everything has shifted. Your values, your boundaries, your tolerance, your desires. And suddenly, relationships that once felt natural begin to feel heavy. Outgrowing people doesn't mean you think you're better than them. In fact, chosen women are often the last to feel superior. You stay humble, you self-reflect, you question yourself constantly. But growth changes you whether you announce it or not. And when you grow inwardly, relationships that are rooted in the past verse on of you struggle to survive, you begin to notice patterns you once ignored. Conversations feel repetitive. Drama feels exhausting. Complaints feel draining. You crave depth, but you're surrounded by surface-level interactions. And instead of feeling inspired, you feel depleted. Not because people are bad, but because your spirit needs something different now. This is one of the loneliest realizations for chosen women. Because you don't want to leave people behind. You want to bring everyone with you. But growth doesn't work that way. Not everyone is meant to follow you into the next version of yourself. Some people are meant to know you only as who you were, not who you're becoming. And when you try to explain this shift, words fail you. How do you tell someone you love that you no longer resonate with the dynamic? How do you say you've changed without sounding judgmental? So instead, you grow quietly. You pull back slowly. And people interpret your growth as distance, coldness, or arrogance. But what they don't see is the internal war you're fighting, the grief of letting go, the guilt of choosing yourself, the fear of being misunderstood. Chosen women often carry growth with sorrow, not celebration, because every level up costs you familiarity. Outgrowing people is not betrayal, it is alignment. And alignment is not negotiable if you want peace. You feel alone even when you're surrounded. There is a loneliness that exists even in crowded rooms. You can be laughing, talking, engaging, and still feel completely unseen. This is not social anxiety. This is not emotional weakness. This is the ache of depth living in shallow spaces. Chosen women often experience this early in life. Even as children, you felt different, older than your age, more aware, more sensitive. You observed more than you spoke. And as you grew older, that feeling never fully left. You learned how to blend in, but you never truly felt like you belonged. Being surrounded but unseen is exhausting. You feel like you're always translating yourself, toning down your thoughts, simplifying your emotions, filtering your truth, and after a while you stop trying. Silence feels safer than being misunderstood. This isolation is not because you are unlovable. It's because your soul speaks a language not everyone understands, and God does not waste depth on environments that cannot hold it. Feeling alone in crowds is often a sign that your spirit is calling you inward, towards solitude, clarity, and divine intimacy. It's not withdrawal, it's alignment. God isolates you to protect what's forming. Isolation for chosen women is never random. It is intentional, strategic, and temporary. God removes you not because you are weak, but because what He is forming in you is vulnerable. Growth needs shelter. Calling needs privacy. Transformation needs space. When God isolates you, He is reducing interference. He is protecting you from voices that could confuse you. He is shielding you from comparisons that could distort your identity. He is allowing you to hear Him clearly without competing influences. Isolation refines discernment. It strengthens intuition. It deepens intimacy with God. And while it feels lonely, it is actually intimate preparation. You are not being hidden because you are insignificant. You are being hidden because what's coming requires purity, strength, and clarity. Isolation did not come to end you. It came to introduce you to yourself. You are not alone, even when it feels like no one sees you, no one understands you, and no one is walking beside you. What you're experiencing is not rejection, it's redirection. God is not stripping your life empty, He is making room. Room for peace, room for alignment, room for the version of you that no longer survives on validation but stands in quiet authority. The isolation wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to reveal you, to teach you how to hear God without noise, to help you recognize your worth without applause, to strengthen your spirit before you are trusted with deeper connections and greater responsibility. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are being protected. If this message reached your heart, it's because your season is shifting. What feels like loneliness today will become clarity tomorrow. What feels like loss will soon make sense. Stay rooted, stay patient, stay open. Your story is still unfolding, and when God reconnects you, it will be with people who see you, honor you, and walk with you, not drain you. You didn't lose them. You found yourself.